Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm doing a quick little update video here for the channel. As you know well are probably well aware, today is June 6th, which means this is the release date of Hearts of Iron 4. A lot of you guys have been asking me if I was going to be doing any Hearts of Iron 4 playthroughs. Unfortunately right now I won't be. My budget does not allow, and considering that this is, making videos as a hobby, and I don't really get paid at all from YouTube. Once the budget allows, then I'll make some videos. But until then, we're just gonna have to do make do with some Hearts of Iron 3, which is okay. I'm working on a playthrough right now that I think most of you guys will enjoy. It's going to be quite a challenge, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But this isn't the real reason for the video today, the little update. What I wanted to say was, being June 6th, this is actually the anniversary of the Normandy invasions and the beginning of Operation Overlord, which started today, 1944. As somebody who plays Hearts of Iron, it's pretty easy for me to just look at the pixels on the screen and send armies to shoot each other over trains and far off countries. But when it comes down to a day like today, it's always good for us to sit back and remember what actually was involved. I'm doing this as a show, as my little way of showing respect for the individuals who gave up risked their lives, and in some cases actually gave their lives to provide freedom to many people. As a Canadian, I'm very proud of the actions that Canadian soldiers did. We did some pretty amazing things as a very small country, and for that I'm very proud. But also, within my family, both my grandparents on both my mother and my father's side were involved in the Dutch resistance in the Netherlands. Neither of my grandfathers really talked about the war at all. They didn't want to talk about the things that they saw. The only thing that they really told me about was the day the Canadian soldiers showed up and liberated the country. When they wandered into town, both my grandfathers told me about the party that they had in celebration, and that gives me a sense of pride, not only being in a country that did those things, but also that these Canadian forces were able to free my grandparents. If they didn't show up, what would have happened? Where would I be? Kind of thing. So this is my own little way of paying respect to what some call the greatest generation. And yeah, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to read a little excerpt from the D-Day Museum website, which is talking about the casualty figures of the D-Day invasion, but also the Battle of Normandy, which spanned several months afterwards. It's one thing to risk your life to save others, but when you're talking about casualty figures, these are the people who risked everything. And most of them were probably way younger than I am now. And it's definitely something to think about. So I'll just read this part real quick. It said over 425,000 Allied and German troops were killed, wounded, or went missing during the Battle of Normandy. This figure includes over 209,000 Allied casualties, with nearly 37,000 dead among the ground forces and a further 16,714 dead amongst the Allied air forces. Of the Allied casualties, 83,045 were from 21st Army Group, British, Canadian, and Polish ground forces. 125,847 casualties from the U.S. ground forces. The losses of the German forces during the Battle of Normandie can only be estimated. Roughly 200,000 German troops were killed or wounded. The Allies also captured 200,000 prisoners of war, not included in the 425,000 above. The initial 425,000 total. During the fighting around the Falaise Pocket in August 1944 alone, the Germans suffered losses of around 90,000, including prisoners. During the Battle of Normandy, between 15,000 and 20,000 French civilians were also killed, mainly as a result of Allied bombing. 1,000 more fled their homes to escape the fighting. Today, 27 war cemeteries hold the remains of over 110,000 dead from both sides. 77,866 Germans, 9,386 Americans, 17,769 British, 5,002 Canadian, and 650 Poles. So reading those figures shows you that there was a massive loss of life, and from both sides. And as much as we love to sit here and start wars on an online game, on a computerized game, when you start thinking about the actual loss of life in World War II, it shows you that is never worth going to war, really, when it comes down to it. A lot of people say, you have to go to war for this or that, whatever reason. And World War II shows you a war that never should have happened in the first place. So, maybe I'm a little naive, maybe I'm a pie in the sky kind of fellow, but I hope by looking at what happened in World War II and previously in World War I, and all the wars in history, the lawmakers and the politicians in all the countries, instead of immediately pointing the gun and shooting, we look at situations like this and think heavily about the idea of diplomacy. It might be fun to launch a missile on a video game, but when it comes down to it, talking is much, much better. Anyways, I know that was pretty grim, but I don't know. I just felt like it's something that's good to do and good for everyone to remember about. So, yeah, thank you for sticking around this long, and I hope you guys enjoy Hearts of Iron 4. But until next time, Q's out.